What if your biggest trap wasn't laziness, lack of talent, or lack of money? What if your biggest trap was your own imagination? Tyler was 20 years old. He was more creative than anyone you've ever met. He could imagine entire worlds in a matter of seconds. In his mind, he had already recorded an album, founded a company, spoken on stages in front of thousands of people. The problem is that all of this existed only inside his head. In real life, he could barely finish a task. He could barely hold a conversation. He could barely look himself in the eye in the mirror. Because while he was daydreaming, time kept passing. And the world, without the slightest pity, didn't wait for him. If you clicked on this video, maybe you suffer from this problem, or maybe you know someone who does. The problem of spending too much time dreaming instead of working to make your dreams a reality. If you are that person, or know someone like that, stay until the end of this video. Today we're going to understand why this happens. We're going to meet Tyler. And we're going to delve into one of Japan's oldest philosophies to discover the antidote to this addiction that steals years from your life without you even realizing it. Chapter 1. The Story of Tyler. There's something nobody told you about daydreaming. We're not talking about that innocent distraction of looking out the window and thinking about weekend plans. We're talking about something much deeper and much more dangerous. In 2010, two Harvard researchers, Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert, conducted a study that became famous worldwide. They developed an app that randomly interrupted people throughout the day to ask three simple things. What are you doing now? What are you thinking? And how are you feeling? The result was surprising. For almost 47% of the time, people weren't thinking about what they were doing. For almost half the day, their minds were elsewhere. And more than that, when their minds wandered, people reported being less happy, regardless of where their minds went, to good things, bad things, or neutral things. A wandering mind is a suffering mind. But the vast majority of people don't know this. On the contrary, many believe that daydreaming is a sign of creativity, of depth, of intelligence, and it is precisely this belief that transforms daydreaming into a silent trap. Tyler grew up in Portland, Oregon, son of a mechanic and a public school teacher. Simple home, quiet neighborhood, no particular tragedy. But even as a child, Tyler had an unusual ability. He could disappear. Not physically, but mentally, Tyler was able to transport himself anywhere in a matter of seconds. In math class, he was composing music. At family dinner, he was on stage performing. In the supermarket queue, he was giving interviews to famous journalists. During adolescence, everyone thought it was cute. Tyler is so creative, they'd say. That boy will go far. But Tyler didn't get very far. He stayed put. At age 20, he had tried 3 different university courses and dropped out of all 3. He had started 2 music projects, a YouTube channel, and a small design company. None of them lasted more than 3 months. It wasn't a lack of talent. Definitely not. Anyone who saw what Tyler created was impressed by the quality. It was something else. Every time it came time to really work, to sit down, to execute, to face the real difficulty of the process, Tyler would disappear. His mind would race. And suddenly, he was imagining the final result. The success. The finished, perfect version. The version that received applause. And in that place there was no hard work. There was no rejection. There was no failure. There was only glory. The daydream was much more enjoyable than reality. What Tyler didn't realize was that every time he immersed himself in that state, his brain received a reward. Neuroscientists call this mental reward simulation. When you vividly imagine something good happening to you, the brain's dopaminergic system responds in a very similar way to when the event actually happens. In other words, Tyler's brain was being rewarded without him having to do anything. And the more this happened, the less motivated he became to actually act. Why suffer the process when fantasy already delivers pleasure? This isn't a weakness of character. It's neuroscience. It's a cycle of addiction as real as any other. Over time, the symptoms worsened. Tyler began having difficulty maintaining conversations. In the middle of a sentence, his mind would wander. Friends complained that he wasn't present. Relationships cooled. Life slipped through his fingers. One afternoon, after losing his third job in 2 years due to lack of focus and commitment, in the words of his boss, Tyler sat in his room staring at the ceiling. And for the first time, he recognized the weight of it. It wasn't just a distraction. It was an escape, a constant, systematic, addictive escape from life itself. It was on that day that he sought help. Chapter 2. The Meeting with Kakashi. Tyler sought help from a psychologist. The psychologist's name was Dr. Kakashi Mori, Japanese-American, second generation. Simple office in downtown Portland. On the walls, some kakemono, scrolls with Japanese calligraphy. No plaques displaying diplomas or titles, just a phrase in English in a wooden frame. The present moment is the only place where life actually happens. Tyler arrived at his first session, not quite knowing what to expect. He had described his problem to the receptionist as difficulty focusing. But Kakashi was different from the other professionals Tyler had tried to consult before. He didn't start with forms. He didn't start with symptom scales. He simply asked, "Where are you right now, Tyler?" Tyler looked around, confused. "Here in the office." Kakashi shook his head slowly. "I meant, where is your mind right now, at this very second?" And Tyler realized, with a strange chill in his stomach, that at that very moment he was partially imagining what it would be like to tell his friends that he had gone to therapy. He was rehearsing the story. He was in the future. "Understood," said Kakashi, with a calm smile. "Let's start here." In the following weeks, Kakashi introduced Tyler to a concept the young man had never heard of before. "Mushin," Kakashi said one afternoon in October, writing the kanji on the paper. "This means mind without mind. It's one of the central concepts of Zen and Japanese martial arts. The state of Mushin is when the mind is completely empty of random thoughts, completely present, without calculation, without anticipation, without nostalgia." Tyler frowned. "But isn't that impossible? The mind will always think of something." "The mind will always generate thoughts," Kakashi corrected. "But Mushin isn't about suppressing thoughts. It's about not getting lost in them. It's about realizing when you've been dragged down and returning. Always returning. The samurai who mentally rehearses the strike while the enemy advances dies, not for lack of skill, for excess of mind." But Kakashi didn't stop at Mushin. He knew that, on its own, the concept would be too abstract for Tyler. "There is another concept," he said, "which for me is the heart of this whole issue. It's called Zanshin." He explained, "The literal translation is residual mind, but the practical meaning is continuous and alert presence. Zanshin is the state of someone who has finished an action and is still completely present. They haven't gone to the future to celebrate. They haven't gone to the past to analyze. They've stayed here." Tyler was quiet for a moment. "It's the opposite of what I do," he said. "Exactly," Kakashi confirmed. "You finish a sentence and you're already 10 sentences ahead. You start a task, and in 30 seconds, you're already celebrating a result that doesn't even exist yet. Zanshin trains the mind to persevere, to not escape." Weeks later, Kakashi brought a third element. They were having tea at the beginning of the session, a habit Kakashi had deliberately introduced, when the psychologist said, almost to himself, "Ichigo Ichie." "What is that?" Tyler asked. "It's a concept from the Japanese tea tradition. It means a moment, an encounter. The central idea is that each moment of your life is absolutely unique and will never be repeated. This instant here, now, drinking this tea, will never exist again. It's unrepeatable." Tyler looked at the cup in his hands. "When you truly understand this," Kakashi continued, "the mind stops wandering. Not out of discipline, out of reverence. Why would you want to be anywhere else when you realize that this place, right now, is the only one that exists?" Daydreaming is not dreaming. It's desertion. It's abandoning the only moment you truly have. Chapter 3. The science behind what Kakashi taught. What Kakashi taught Tyler wasn't mysticism. It was ancient philosophy meeting modern neuroscience. Dr. Daniel J. Siegel, clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA and author of the best-selling book Mindsight. He explains that the practice of training mindfulness, what the Japanese call presence, Mushin, Zanshin, literally alters the structure of the brain. In his words, when we intentionally and repeatedly direct our attention to the present moment, we create new neural connections in the prefrontal cortex. We are literally rebuilding the brain to be more capable of presence. It's neuroplasticity at the service of what the samurai have been practicing for centuries. Harvard psychologist and professor Dr. Ellen Langer, a pioneer in the study of what she calls mindlessness, the state of mental autopilot, has spent decades documenting how an absent mind creates a distorted perception of reality. In one of her most cited studies, she demonstrated that people in a state of mindlessness, mentally absent, make significantly worse decisions, are more prone to errors, and report much less satisfaction with their activities. A present mind is not a spiritual luxury, she states. It is the basic condition for a functional life. And Dr. Roy Baumeister, one of the world's most influential social psychologists, has extensively studied the phenomenon he calls mental time travel, the mental journey through time that humans constantly make to the past and to the future. He identified that, although this ability is unique to humans and is responsible for much of our intelligence and planning, when it becomes a compulsive habit, as in Tyler's case, this ability hijacks the cognitive resources needed to act in the present. The mind can visit the future. The problem begins when the mind decides to live there. Chapter 4. The Turning Point. 3 months after he started working with Kakashi, Tyler had an experience that he would later describe as the moment when life stopped being a draft. He was working on a design project, yet another beginning that would likely be abandoned, or so the norm dictated, and he felt that familiar sensation, the pull, his mind beginning to drift into fantasies of the final result. But this time he realized, not with anger, not with judgment, he simply realized and he returned. He returned to the screen, to the cursor, to the line he was drawing at that moment. He returned to the only place where anything real could happen. He couldn't maintain his focus for very long at first. His mind kept wandering, but he kept practicing the return. Mushin, Zanshin, Ichigo Ichie. Over time, the intervals between visits grew longer. The project progressed. 1 week, 2, 3. One night at 11 p.m., Tyler looked at the screen and saw something he had never seen before in any of his projects. He saw the end, not in your imagination. On screen, real, finished. He sat in silence for several minutes. He wasn't celebrating mentally. He wasn't rehearsing how he would tell the others. He was simply present in that moment, and in that moment he felt what it is to be truly proud of himself. Not proud of a fantasy, proud of a reality he built. Chapter 5. What no one tells you about daydreams. But here's something most people don't know. Not all daydreams are the same. Researchers Benjamin Baird and Jonathan Schooler from the University of California have identified a crucial difference between what they call maladaptive daydreaming, which Tyler experienced, and what they call productive mind wandering. Maladaptive daydreaming is the kind that functions as an escape. It's compulsive, repetitive, and serves to avoid the discomfort of the present. That's what Tyler did. That's probably what you recognize in yourself. But there is another type, the light daydream, when the mind briefly rests from the task and returns with new perspectives. Studies show that this type of mental wandering is associated with creative insights, solving complex problems, and memory consolidation. The difference between the two is not the content, it's the intention and the control. The point isn't to eliminate daydreams, it's to be the one who decides when to enter and when to leave. And here comes the concept that Kakashi left for Tyler as the most important of all, Kokoro. A Japanese word that doesn't have an exact translation in English. Kokoro is the unity between heart, mind, and spirit. Not 3 separate things, one whole thing. According to the Japanese perspective, compulsive daydreaming is a symptom of a fragmented Kokoro, heart. A mind here, a heart elsewhere, a spirit wandering aimlessly. When you rebuild your Kokoro, When heart, mind, and presence align, daydreaming loses its function as an escape. Because there is nothing left to run from, not because life became perfect, but because you learn to be fully present in your life, exactly as your life is. Before we wrap up, let me recap the main points we covered today, because each one of them could be a turning point in your life if you let it. First point, scientific studies prove that we spend almost 47% of our time with our minds elsewhere than in the present. And when that happens, we are consistently less happy regardless of where our minds have wandered. Second point, compulsive daydreaming isn't creativity, it's addiction. The brain is rewarded by fantasy without needing to do anything, and this breaks the motivation to act in the real world. Third point, Mushin, Zanshin, and Ichigo Ichie teaches us that a present mind is not empty, it is powerful. Do not suppress thoughts, but do not get lost in them. Perceive them and return. Always return. Tyler today is not the version of your fantasy. He's not on huge stages. He hasn't become a millionaire. He's not being interviewed by famous journalists. But he's doing it, building it, present. He released his first full project, then the second. He's on his third now, each one better than the last. And you know what's even more curious? Tyler's real life started to become more interesting than fantasies, because reality has texture, it has resilience, it has the specific flavor of the hard things that were done. Fantasy doesn't have that. Fantasy is plain. Fantasy is empty. The question that remains is this: in which version of your life have you been spending most of your time? In the one you imagine or in the one you build? Because the one you imagine doesn't need you. That part exists effortlessly, flawlessly, without real presence. But the one you build, that one needs you. Completely. Here. Now. And only you can decide to show up. The present moment is not an obstacle between you and your life. Only the present moment is your life. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. Each video here is an opportunity to transform the way you think about yourself and the world. Leave a like, because it really helps this work reach more people. And comment below. Did you recognize yourself in Tyler's story? At what point in your life did daydreaming become escapism? If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to watch this video on the screen about how to better manage your time. This video was created with the same care and depth that you saw here today. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next video.